Boom. What is good? We're back. Got mock draft Monday, full effect. It's startup season now, right, boys? That's the part of the year we're getting to. We got best balls firing off. We got dynasty startups firing off. Lot of fun. Still plenty of rookie drafts to go, but the first big wave is over. How we doing, boys? Big Co, what's up?
Yeah. Like startup season, maybe my favorite season. Nothing like mix. I take startup season over fall any day.
The only reason that I wouldn't, by the way, any day on this side of the dirt is a good one, just so you guys know. Only reason I wouldn't take startup season over the fall is because actual American tackle football starts happening.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah, that's the only deal, man. I have to have, like, we're immersed enough in it to where I get to watch enough football and, highlights. And, if I need to go figure some shit out, like from a film perspective, I can do that and get my fix, but like real, like new information.
New football. Nothing better than new football. Real, new football. Golly, best.
Yeah, it's great. All new information. All right, so what up, Dynasty Freak? What up, Henry Muto? What up, Go Jin? He came in early with a question before we even started. He laid one up for us. He said, currently in a slow draft, 101 Genty, 102 Hampton, 103 Travion, 104 Ibuka, 105 Loveland, and OTC Superflex tight end premium. Choose your fighter. So he's got
104 Ibuka? He said 104 Ibuka?
Yeah.
Wow. Ibuka. That's wicked work.
I mean,
you like a point per draft capital?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't mind Cam Ward in that situation there. If you need, I don't hate that.
Man, I got it. Y'all, we're gonna have to have like an intervention because I'm starting to have some real aggressive visions about how good I think Cam Ward can be this year.
Aggressive visions.
Yeah.
Where's your weapons at, Chef? Who's he throwing the ball to, bro?
Calvin Ridley.
Oh,
Chig,
okay.
Big Rig Chigakonkwo, the ghost of Tyler Lockett.
Okay.
Well, hey, Calvin Ridley was number. Hey, so funny enough, on this tweet, this guy quote tweeted me. He was like, "You're talking about unrealized air yards. We gotta simplify the game, man."
Yeah, I mean, outside the fantasy community, if you're talking about unrealized air yards, they're like, shut the fuck up. Dog, I need the realized ones so we can win some ball games.
But like, I mean, obviously it's a fantasy tweet, but it it's like, we got to simplify the game again. It's like, well, it doesn't really get more simple than like if these air yards, like they were catchable, like this guy would have more yards. I don't really know how else to break that down to you, champ, but
yeah,
to each their own, I guess.
All right, we're underway. We're about a round and a half in. So we got Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels leading it off. We got Lamar and then Patty sneaking into 104. That's super early for Patrick Mahomes these days. I don't mind it, but love the value. If I'm that 1-9, 1-8, 110 drafter, I'm like, damn, thought I was getting Patrick Mahomes.
True.
Chase goes 105, Hurts 106, Burrow 107, Neighbors, Jefferson, Puka, Lamb, and Bowers is the rest of the first round. So Neighbors over Jefferson, got Puka in the first round, CD, Bowers, he's usually maybe about mid first, end of the first. Then we had Gibbs starting it off, ASB 202, McBride 203, Bijan 204, Justin Herbert 205, so a little early on the Herbs again. Genty at 206, that's probably the latest I've seen him go in a minute. Brian Thomas at 207, Caleb at 208, Laddie at 209, and then we're at Drake May here for the 210. So how are we feeling if we're one of these top 4, 5, 6 picks and you took a quarterback first? Are you coming back with a quarterback or no way?
That's tough, man. Like, I mean, the value that got pushed down the board in this instance, Genty going to 2-6, he's been going So I've done like 3 or 4 startups in the last couple of days, and like he never makes it past 2, like 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
So like the value that got pushed down the board. I mean, Drake London being at the end of the second round, he was at the beginning of the second round in multiple startups that I did. Multiple of the startups of the 3, and Bijan being at 2-4 feels like a pipe dream. Like I haven't been able to pull that off. I mean, we haven't seen a maneuver like that since the Helsinki failsafe incident in 1919. Like that's wild work. I mean, I guess if there's a definitive tier break, I mean, I guess. Like Mahomes, the way that it fell for Timmy TX here with Lamar Jackson and Drake Maye, you can't really argue with that.
Yeah, that's.
But I mean,
what
would I go Drake London though? I probably would.
Right. When Casey asked the question, I was looking at the Lad McConkey and Drake London and Brian Thomas in the second round. I'm like, I want all those guys. Like, but then when you see the Lamar Jackson Drake Maye combo, you're like, man, if that guy gets it right 4 or 5 times in the next 6 or 7 picks,
that's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's gonna be real hard to beat, man. Like that's that's rushing upside. I mean, you guys think that Drake Maye is going to take a step forward based on everything that they've done, right? Like it's not going to be completely, filibustered or whatever word you want to use because of Rabel, right?
Oh no, I think we're good. We got Josh McDaniels back in the fold over there, so I don't mind that. If we can get Maye on the Brady, hey, just make sure you're moving the ball forward situation. And then Drake uses the legs a little bit, and if T-Rex arms can be a viable left tackle, then we're in business. I don't see any reason why Drake shouldn't be taking a step forward, right? I mean, play the full season. It seems like there's a whole new mentality, a whole new shift. He's going to get the full season. He's the guy, and I think we all saw everything we needed to see last year in the large chunks that we saw Drake Maye. So I don't see why not.
Yeah.
And I mean, Vrabel's coming in. He's basically general manager, co-owner at this point. So it's not like he didn't have to sign off on Travion Henderson early in the second round. He didn't like force, Quinshon Judkins or some like a bruising back. He didn't. He's like, you think about Vrabel, linebacker, put your face in there. Like he took a speed running back early in the second round, brought in Josh McDaniels with a quickness. I don't think the ex NFL football player, head coach, defense, rah guy is going to get in the way of Drake Maye. If anything, it's just the cohesiveness of the whole operation, the whole just the team from the top down. Sam, that I don't know what happened with Mayo. Obviously, the former head coach, he and the owner go way back. Whatever didn't go right for Mayo, I hate it because I always liked him, and it seemed like, he was just perfectly lined up there. But sometimes you're just not meant to be the head coach, and Vrabel's the head coach. But I feel like he's going to get out the way and let McDaniels do what he does.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Vrabel let what's my man's Arthur Smith. I mean, he had basically 2 1,000-yard rushers, a 2,000-yard rusher, and a 4,000-yard passer, pretty much, in Tannehill, Corey Davis, AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry. So it's not like he'll interfere too much. I think it's just more of he's a great game manager. Like that's the deal there. Yeah, I agree. 2-4 for Bijan is absolutely insane. It's incredible value.
Yeah. Dynasty Freak asks, start 2 tight ends full premium. How much value difference do you put on the tight end position? Hold those thoughts real quick. I'm gonna catch us up on the draft board. All right. We had Drake Maye, then we had Drake London go 211, 212 was Nico Collins. Then we start the third round. We got Marv 301, Barkley 302, Stroud 303, Hunter at 304. Getting wild in these streets. Bo Nix at 305, Cam Ward at 306, JSN 307, Omarion, B2K Hampton at 308, 309 Garrett Wilson, 310 AJ Brown, Jared Love. I'm drawing a blank. Said Jared Love.
Jordan
Love. There we go, boys. Thanks. Devon Achane.
I was just watching the train wreck. I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Yeah,
Even help you out.
It's like this. Hey, he's gonna course correct.
Yeah, Kyler goes 4-1. Tech goes 4-2. Brees at 4-1, 4-3, and then Purdy at 4-4. So Achane going late. Brees move him into the 4th round. Hunter up there early. Barkley maybe a hair later than we've seen him. So when we have two full tight ends, start two tight ends, full premium, how much value difference are you putting on the tight end position? I would say an immense amount for me personally.
Full premium, does that mean a full point? Is that what that means?
That's what I'm assuming it is. Yes.
So instead of, PPR tight end catches a point, and then a tight end premium, generally speaking, is a half a point. So it gives you 1.5 PPR every time he catches the ball. And then if you're saying full premium, that means tight end get a whole point. That's what we're laying out here in this scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Well, then, yeah, it would be ridiculous. The 2-point tight end premium got on our radar a couple years ago, and we got in 2 or 3 different leagues. And I'm literally trying to start tight ends in my flex spots. If not the ones that don't catch, not the ones that don't catch passes, of course.
Right.
But I'm trying to have TJ Hawkinson not be my best tight end. I'm trying to have TJ Hawkinson be my second tight end and have him in a flex.
I'm trying to have TJ Hawkinson be my 4th tight end.
Well, of course,
right?
If you have the ability, I'm in one. I'm in a full. You only start one, but there's 3 flexes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the FF Dynasty F4
There's
league.
4 flexes.
There's 4 flexes in that league.
Yeah.
And I have Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. I traded for Trey McBride last year during the rookie draft before Casey and I made a video about Trey McBride being awesome. And I have Brock Bowers and Trey McBride and Dalton Kincaid and Jonnu Smith and TJ Hawkinson. And it's the 4 horsemen plus JJ Dillon is the way I got my team. My team's name is the 4 horsemen is my 4 tight ends.
That's old WWF.
That's WCW, baby.
Well, WCW, an old school wrestling reference for the youngins out there.
Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, Barry Windham. Let's go.
Yeah. You're at the one spot.
Man, AA.
You're at the one spot in a startup. Start 2 tight ends. Bauer goes where? I mean,
first
1-4, 1-5,
really
1-1.
early.
2-point tight end.
Yeah,
2-point tight end. He's 1-1. Trey McBride's 1-2. It's not even close.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not stacking the 2, is what we're trying to tell you.
Yeah, and you have to start 2 in that one, and then I don't know what the flexes are, right? So I don't know if you can flex another one. So I like getting them. I don't mind overspending on them and getting a little crazy with them and hoarding them, because the value for some decent players should be really easy to just, hey, I need to upgrade a position. I can liquidate one of these tight ends and should have a ton of value. So I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Ryan Chappa says, how did Bro get Jefferson and Bijan? That's a hell of a start. Bijan going late. Bijan going late. And just, sometimes it happens like that. That's how that's why it's kind of unpredictable in these startups. But Bijan and Jefferson to start a dynasty team is a start that I would love 10 times out of 10, right? Especially because the way we've been seeing these quarterbacks kind of fall off the board, you could still find some good value in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So you could have just started there. I mean, he took Travis Hunter at 3, but I mean, he could have took Bo Nix there and just, been fantastic. Or if you like Jordan Love or Kyler Murray or whatever, take Hunter all you want. I'm just saying, like, he could have solidified a quarterback there, and then possibly came back with one here at this particular pick, which would be like a Penix or a Dak or kind of any of those guys. So he could be in sick shape. Not that he isn't. Like, that might be awesome. He's got Jonathan Taylor there. Maybe Hunter's just absolutely a killer. So
maybe Hunter's the next Jamar Chase.
Maybe so.
Yeah,
maybe so.
Maybe. That's apparently the thought process of what's going on out here in these streets now.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad comparison because one guy wasn't catching the ball, who was a wide receiver all the time and played wide receiver his whole career, and the other guy was, running some routes that you were like, that doesn't look great, but it probably wasn't going to look great because he was not a full-time wide receiver. He's a smart kid and he works hard, so he'll figure the routes out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If I got to come to bat to defend Hunter, we got problems. And, but let's be rational about it. Like if this kid's work ethic, he's gonna learn how to run routes. He'll be
rational.
all right.
You kidding me?
Now, but this was the problem, right? This was my whole dichotomy of my issue was like, which room is he going to spend the most time in? And then there's going to be some deficiencies in college. You might be able to hide that when you're just godlike athlete and preparation and take care of your body. And in the pros, it's just going to be a little bit different.
Skinny Bo Jackson.
Skinny Bo Jackson. That's right. But Brock Purdy got paid. And he's coming in at the 404. Didn't really move the meter much, but now locked into the Niners makes you feel pretty safe as that asset, right? What a fourth round quarterback for me that I'd love to have. Anybody feel opposite of that?
No. Why would you feel opposite of that?
I don't know.
Yeah, how could you? I don't think you get $50 million guaranteed with a no trade clause to stay with Shanahan and feel bad, but you don't go down in value. Right. And maybe he doesn't, he's not going to spike up because there's just players that are more fun ahead of him. But like it really cements the value of like the teams that he's on currently that you didn't pay much for him, especially if you got him 2 years ago or more. He came out of nowhere, you got him for free, and now you just got a locked in starter. He's been like that for 2 years now anyway. But if you bought him last year and he's a little bit more expensive, this is solid. He stays with Shanahan. You don't have to deal with any, is he going to work over here in such and such system?
Mm-hmm.
That's solid.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would struggle taking him over Kyler just because the rushing upside, but also Kyler feels gross right now. But he was QB9.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Kyler didn't look or feel great week over week, and is still, still decent. So like the ceiling is still there if we can lock this back in, but Purdy going to stay fairly locked in, and kind of unlocked a little rushing upside there. So should be a little interesting year. Was this year 4 now for Purdy, or year 3, or I don't remember.
This exactly. Is going into 4th year.
Yeah, this is going to year 4.
Yeah, a convoluted 4 years, but 4 years. All right, so we've left off with I believe it was Breece Hall at 4-3, right? Since then, we had Purdy go at 4-4. And I say all this for the podcast listeners because this will be a podcast later. So if you're like, why does this guy always read them? This reason right here. Baker Mayfield, 405. Sam Laporta, 406. Travion Henderson, 407. We had Rashi coming in at 408. Continues again to be just one of the best values, I think, wide receiver-wise in the draft. I mean, this guy could be easily up with any of those guys at the top with catches and points scored and average points per game. Now, obviously, a little crowded over there now all of a sudden, but if that offense kickstarts back into 25, 30 points a game offense, it's going to be no problem for Rashee Rice to be up there scoring with some of the guys drafted in the first 2 rounds. Jonathan Taylor, 409. Trevor Lawrence, 410. Higgins, 411. Bucky Irving, 412. Roma Dunze, 5-1. Goff, 5-2. Judkins, 5-3. Devonta Smith, 5-4. Kyron, 5-5. Loveland, 5-6. A little off before Warren. JJ McCarthy, 5-7. Xavier Worthy, 5-8. Chase Brown, 5-9. James Cook, 5'10, Jacobs 5'11, and Tyler Warren 5'12. Leading off the 6th round, we got RJ Harvey, we got Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers. So, boys, let's talk strategy and build here. Which team do you like kind of how they've started off with their collective build and how they've targeted different positions so far here? Big Co, what are you thinking? You got something that you like? I feel like you're definitely a 1-8 through 1-12 kind of guy right now, as far as if you had your choice where to pick, I think.
Oh, for sure. I am. I love being at the back right this second.
Which means if you were a top pick, you would be doing everything you could to trade back with a 3rd round reversal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If last week at the very end, the question was if you were at the 1-1, how could you trade back? And because somebody was new to Dynasty Startups, and we, kind of about 5 minutes worked our way through you trading back from Josh Allen at the 1-1 to the 1-7, 1-8, the Neighbors, Jefferson, Brock Bowers, and get a first-round pick to do that, and then move a sixth-rounder up into the fourth-rounder so you can stay into that really, really solid quarterback range. That'd be what I would be trying to do. I like to be in the middle to the back half. I like the CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, Barkley, T. Higgins, Jared Goff in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. That's a team that's week 1 is going to be looking hard to beat, and nobody's old. I mean, Saquon's older, but Jared Goff's no spring chicken, but that's a good looking set of studs that he's coming out there with CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, and T. Higgins as his flex wide receiver with Saquon and Jared Goff. That's a fun looking team.
How do you close out the quarterback situation here with coming in with Goff as your anchor QB right now? Are you shooting for like a Fields? Or are you just going to try to find something late and maybe trade for stuff, take a bunch of kind of junk quarterbacks? Is this Stafford or Geno, or are you going Bryce here? What do you think?
Great follow-up question. So if this is a real draft and that's my first 5 and I hadn't made any moves yet and I got the same draft picks, I'm moving around. I want to try to get Dak as my second quarterback. So if you take Goff right there at 5'11" or 5'2", and it has to go all the way down and come all the way back to you, that's a long way to go. Last week we were doing this mock draft and Dak went in the 7th round, but you can't count on that. That's ridiculous. And then he got and I after we kind of digest him getting Pickens, now George Pickens is over there as another weapon. You can't count on Dak being even middle. He goes in the middle of 6th round right here. I think that's just like giving away a quarterback in Superflex. So if I got those types of players, my first 5, if I feel like I just got so gifted studs where I ended up where my first quarterback is Jared Goff in the 5th round, which, I've made it no secret. I'm going to try to find a Bo Nix. I'm going to try to find a Jordan Love in here in the 3rd round somewhere. I don't mind taking Drake Maye early if I have to. But if Jared Goff is my first quarterback, I'm going to maneuver around and try to come up with a Dak Prescott potential. I like Penix. I like Penix a lot, but we got 5 seasons to say Dak Prescott's a stud, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he got hurt and this and that, but he's perennially at the top of quarterback fantasy points.
Fantasy wise, yeah. Some people would argue not a stud in real life, but fantasy wise, he's.
I don't care if he gets knocked out. Right. First round of the playoffs is past the fantasy points, right? Fantasy schedule, right? Once we're in the actual NFL playoffs, my fantasy teams have finished up. I don't care if Dak's bad in the playoffs. Does nothing for me right now. That doesn't hurt my team at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just what I was talking about.
Chev, what you thinking here with the team start here, or a build or two, or a strategy here that you're liking?
Chance DeLeon. Yeah. Coming out, hammer wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. We're expecting him to have solidified quarterback play, maybe another 160 targets. He was awesome with less than stellar targets last year. I love Rashee Rice. Yeah, I love the double tap at quarterback. Bo Nix at 3.5, tremendous value. I mean, and then I'm coming around on Justin Herbert in the 2nd round. I don't love that as much, but then he adds a turbo booster to it, and he goes and gets Captain Durag, and I'm a big fan. I think he's going to do some outstanding things. Jacob Gibbs is tweeting things out right now about
Captain Durag is Penix for those scoring at home.
Yeah, if you don't watch football and you don't know the one guy who plays with a do-rag on all the time, shame on you. But yeah, Michael Penix, quarterback, 8th overall pick for the Atlanta Falcons last year. I'm a big believer. I think he's going to take a massive step forward. Everything is in line for him. I love this start, and then to go in a different direction, I would say the Lamar Jackson Drake Maye. Never mind. I don't like the last 2 picks there at all. Never mind. You had me in the first half, Timmy, and then you scared away the garden tools. So we're gonna go with right next to you, Naughty Fox. That's Naughty Fox, right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Little Laddie, Garrett Wilson, Brock Purdy, Chase Brown, Kenny 3 Sticks, and then Dalton Kincaid.
Our guy Dynasty Daddy says, "What's up?
What up?
Sup?
Yeah,
We've been roster
I like
reviewing
that.
the hell out of that website, so appreciate you.
Yeah, big fan.
They
Big
behind the
fan.
paywall though, so you don't see them. But we're crushing that thing. About to be doing some live ones with the Dynasty Daddy, so you'll see some more from the FFD Dynasty Daddy wise, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Oh, that's actual Dynasty Day.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's an imposter, but I'm gonna guess that's.
Hope it's not. We
That's
don't
our
need
guy.
to be impostoring over here, right? Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's our
be-
guy. That's
We
our guy.
can't have a Dynasty Daddy burner account.
Mm.
They cut your hands off in Cuba for shit like that, bud.
Mhm.
Ain't nobody
That
got
better
time
be
for
the real
that.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, yeah, I like Mahomes, Purdy, two really, really high end stud wide receiver twos, wide receiver one upside. Then Kenny 3 Sticks and Chase Brown. I didn't realize that Ken Walker forced 61 missed tackles in 11 games last year, which was like 8th in the league.
Oh, through 11 games, yeah. I mean, it was per game, but like he was ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm getting really, really excited about him with in the Kubiak system.
Same, brother. Same.
Yeah. I might have to call a doctor if I keep thinking about that too much.
16.5 fantasy points a game through 11 games, man. He was explosive, looked good. Now we got a different blocking scheme potentially that he could really excel in.
One that actually works.
Yeah, I'm interested. Let's get that line healthy and see what Sammy D can do for you. All right. Ryan Chapa says Bucky Irving hype getting out of hand. I see in this particular draft, he goes 412. We got him at like 4.5, 4.6 ADP. So feels like kind of normal and maybe even a little bit late. Would y'all boys, let's do this for a second. Bucky Irving or RJ Harvey?
Whoa.
Obviously here we've got a, almost, we got a round, 2 roundish gap or round and a half gap or whatever it is before. Yeah, about a round gap.
I feel like we could. So I'll just jump out there as the known quote unquote Bucky hater, and I'll say that I'll take the Sean Payton back a round and a half later.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think?
Yeah, that's real tough. Like the haze in the barn with Bucky, my man came out there and looked sick. But if anybody has more like ability to just drive his players into certain roles and freedom to do so, then Sean Payton, show me that guy,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, the sky is the absolute limit.
Let's take out where
Harvey's PPR.
Let's take out where they were draft. Let's just say equal, right? You got to take Harvey or Bucky
As a football player?
Just in fantasy. Like you don't have in a vacuum, you're going this guy or this guy.
But he's still Harvey's still on the Broncos.
Yeah, everybody's still where they are.
It's not about draft capital. It's just that Harvey's going to be getting fed balls from Sean Payton's offense, and Bucky Irvin's out there trying to repeat last year, which was if he doesn't get any better, he was amazing. That's the whole hiccup of the argument here.
Yeah, he was so efficient.
Yeah, for everything I want Harvey to be and think he is going to be, Bucky just came out and slayed. On an NFL field, it's like Harvey. I love his breakaway stats and his numbers and all this stuff and the handpickedness that is the running back chosen by Sean Payton is enough for me to put blinders on for a lot of players. But Bucky's, not 27, 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Harvey, insert old running back rookie joke for RJ Harvey here anyway. I mean, if it's I feel like if there was like money on the
Are
1
you
week
filibustering
scenario
right now?
It seems like it. It seems like it.
Still have to go Harvey.
He's gonna take 24. He's gonna take 24 hours on the stand and just.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
He's just gonna read. You're gonna read a manuscript of Star Wars instead of answering the question.
Oh, that was tough. I got a headache. My fever my blood pressure just went up. Like, how do you take Harvey over Bucky Irving, who just absolutely crushed last year?
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man. I mean,
Ryan comes back and says he'd take Chase Brown 10 times over 10 over Bucky. He had Bucky last year.
Yeah, I mean that's the proper volume play. I mean, we're not going to just completely throw Rachaad White out with the bathwater. I think honestly that's the fall that Rachaad White has experienced, being able to get him around like the 13th round of just about every single mock draft or startup that I've been a part of is just, I mean, I don't see there's no reason, there's no way to pass that up. So like just thinking from a value perspective, like if something happens to Bucky, we know Rachaad White can handle workhorse volume. We know he's one of the best pass catching running backs in the NFL. I don't feel that same way about the situation behind RJ Harvey. I don't feel like there's anyone even remotely close to threatening him in that, in this scenario. So I'm gonna go unequivocally RJ Harvey and call it a day here.
Okay.
To answer, did you answer Alex's question? Did I miss us answering Alex's question?
No, we didn't ask that question yet.
Okay. All right. We'll hold off on that.
Yeah.
I got too excited because I know what my answer is.
So how about Chase Brown or Bucky? He said 10 times out of 10 Chase over Bucky.
Chase Brown.
What do you guys think? Chase Brown?
Yeah, I'll take Chase.
Okay. All right. Woo. All right.
No real running back competition, and Zach Taylor utilizes one running back to function as the bell cow.
Yeah. All right. How about, so basically Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson are over Bucky too, right? Big Co, give me a short answer there.
Yes.
Okay.
Omarion, yes.
Omarion, yes.
Omarion, yes. Travion, no.
Okay. All right. And how about Judkins? Judkins over Bucky?
Yes.
No.
I'm with you on that one, Big Co. I got all those rookies over Bucky, and then Judkins right behind him. I think is kind of where I'm at right now. So, all right, let's shoot back over to this draft board, see what's been going on while we were discussing some RBs, and then Ryan, we'll get to your question here, or Alex, sorry, we'll get to your question here in a minute. Where do we leave off here, boys? We had Flowers, maybe. So we got, reading off the 6th round, we had Harvey, Henry, Flowers. Then we had Kenny Walker, who me and Chev are really liking this year. I feel like he's a nice buy right now. There's probably some people who are looking to get out or are a little nervous about Kenny, but I think Kenny was outstanding last year, and I'm in and buying as long as we can get healthy. Dak or Kittle goes at 6'5", Dak, Ibuka, Penix at 6'8", Caleb Johnson 6'9", Pickens 6'10", DJ Moore 6'11", Jordan Addison 6'12", and then Waddle at 7'1". That's kind of nice right there, that Waddle. Then Christian McCaffrey. So killer PF, he sticks with no other. He had 2 chances to go with another quarterback, and he stuck it out. But then he gets Fields at 8'11". So all is well. Just might need to maybe find a third. Geno maybe would have been preferable, but that doesn't look like it can happen because he went off the board. CMC over the safety of maybe picking another quarterback that you might want at that point, but although the choices aren't great. So CMC 7'2", DK Metcalf 7'3". We had Jameson Williams, Terry McLaurin, Matthew Golden, Jerry Jeudy coming in at 7'07", Bryce Young at 7'08". So would you rather have Bryce Young or Christian McCaffrey if you're building killer PF's team?
Well, I'll take Christian McCaffrey. And when he came, and then he gets Justin Fields and on the wraparound, because he's at the 11th spot. He took Justin Fields, and then Sam Darnold and Anthony Richardson go back to back, which I like that stack a lot. And then he took Joe Mixon. He could have had Geno, so he could have had Justin Fields, Geno Smith back to back on his wraparound, and then had Jared Goff, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, and that would have been pretty solid. I don't hate Joe Mixon at all, but you don't necessarily, quote unquote, need him if you got Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey already. I feel like you could go RB hunting and they're all older, quote unquote, running backs. I feel like you could go running back hunting if you needed one, and go ahead and put Geno Smith on the team to kind of just solidify that quarterback room there.
What do you think, Chev?
Kill
Would you
PF.
want Chevy or CMC or Bryce Young or CMC?
I mean, for this build, I'm fine going. I mean, he committed to a direction, and you got Justin Fields, who offers potentially more upside without the perceived long-term security that Bryce has. So I'm fine going CMC there. I would, I can't. If you went Bryce right there, you're committing to a totally different direction, and you give yourself a little bit more. You give yourself a little bit more flexibility. You're still win now, but right here, you're in the door as a bona fide contender with CMC if he's healthy.
Yeah. I mean, it's like lotto ticket. Ed said hello scratch off. So, and then you ended up with Fields. The story ends with a happy ending. You get Fields. Stafford would have been sick coming back here at 10-11 if you could have grabbed him as well. That would have been a nice just follow up of, hey, we got just quite the security blanket there. Do you come back with a Shuck on that team? Hold that thought. Kincaid over Hawkinson.
Hold that thought.
Kincaid over Hawkinson. How do we feel about that?
Not great, Bob. Not great. I had assumed when I was praising Naughty Fox for, you were a naughty boy there. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There's just no way. You take personally, I'm taking the touchdown upside of Mark Andrews as opposed to the whatever PPR upside of Dalton Kincaid. I don't like I loved everything he did up until that point, and I realized TJ Hawkinson was still on the board. Some other tight ends I really like are on the board. But, I've let Dalton Kincaid slip pretty far down my rankings. Not a big believer.
Big Co?
Yeah, I think I'd probably take Hawkinson over Kincaid at this point. It's a lot safer. I feel like the volume should be there for him. Obviously we got a lot to see with the new quarterback for Minnesota. But Hawkinson has been a target hog in that offense alongside Justin Jefferson. And, Jordan Addison's a stud too. A lot of mouths to feed for a rookie. I get it. And Hawkinson's not 25 years old, but he's just safer. He's more valuable today.
Yeah, I mean, tight ends like reverse age. Like they get better as they get a little bit older. And TJ Hawkinson's at the forefront of that, like that grown man strength peak that tight ends get around like 28, 29. There's just, he's got the contract, he's got the security, he's got the pass happy offense, predictably or perceivably. Yeah, I'm going TJ right there.
All right. Would you take Pickens? Alex asks, would you take Pickens as a wide receiver 2 in Dallas or Waddle as a wide receiver 2 in Miami? On a clock and a startup right now. Ayuk is also on the board. So what y'all boys think there? Waddle, Pickens, or Ayuk?
I would take Pickens. I don't know what it's going to look like 12 months from now, but I don't know if it's going to make it through the season. But that thing, if it starts off hot, you think I used to love Michael Gallup as a flex option in fantasy football because Dak loves throwing the go ball, loves it, especially one-on-one coverage when Michael Gallup wasn't the man. We're talking, Dez Bryant was taking old Dez Bryant, but still taking all of the defense, and Michael Gallup was getting that. Pickens is 3 levels above Michael Gallup as far as the ability to catch the ball down the field. And I think that Dak and Pickens is a fantastic combination, especially CeeDee Lamb all over the place, drawing the coverage, and then Ferguson sucking up some catches here and there. Like it's on paper, it doesn't even come close to the Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison types. It doesn't jump off the page, but if you look at the complementary skill sets, that goes directly with the quarterback as well. Like, I just feel like if it could be ridiculous, like it could be a sick start to the season for that offense. The defense ain't going to stop anybody. So I just feel like Dak to Pickens could look real. And you know what? I don't think CeeDee Lamb gets enough love for just like he's actually a really, really good teammate. We love to paint our wide receivers into corners about being divas, and every time there's any like mic'd up footage or anything like that, like CD's always talking about Dak and calling him number 4 and, like just picking him up and this and that. Like, I feel like that could be, I'm not saying it will be, but I think that could be a potentially really good thing for Pickens to be around, so
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. You don't even have to ask me this question.
I know you're a Waddle hater.
Yeah. Full denier. Yes. Yeah. Full denial of Jalen Waddle. I am team George Pickens. I think I was so ready. I was ready to be out on Pickens in Pittsburgh. I was out on Pickens in Pittsburgh. And then, like I said, he's my most known dynasty player. So I liquidated a couple shares just to, just to see what the market was. And I was able to get like a first plus in every situation. So I was like, okay, cool.
Since he signed with the Cowboys, that's what you did?
Yes.
Nice.
Three different times.
Very solid.
Yeah. 3 different times. So I would be on the George Pickens side firmly, just because I think your point about Michael Gallup, he's the 99 overall version of that. And with him, if he can operate in single coverage, that's going to be, we could be looking at like the Allen Robinson 2015, like 80 for 1,414 touchdowns. Like that's the type of ceiling that he has. That's the thing. He's so much better than what people realize, because he's been in such a shitty offense for the last 3 years. So
the only thing that then brings you back is, when the beat, and obviously he's getting out of Pittsburgh, but they're talking about him being late to meetings, just not being where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. Like, how much does that matter? Does that straighten out if you're in a new place for a minute and if things are going well? Things are probably going well. Then Pickens is probably in good spirits. So yeah, all the upside in the world is there, and we've been a big proponent of Pickens, but I'm going Waddle on this one. I'm going Waddle.
Boo.
Just we don't know what the state of Tyreek is either at this point. He could come back in and crush, but you give me healthy Tua and a healthy Waddle, which we haven't really seen lately, but we've seen one wide receiver 1 and one like wide receiver 13 season from Waddle, so it's there. We could get there. So I'm gonna take Waddle on this one.
Man,
all right.
Those were on 2 totally opposite ends of the spectrum, though. Like there's a 140 target season where he's wide receiver 13, and he averaged 18 yards a catch, and finishes a wide receiver 7 one season.
Mm-hmm.
And then ever since then, they've changed the way they've completely decided to change the way that they play offense, which makes me real sad. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just a lightning in a bottle offense, and that thing could explode at any second. And could be a whole bunch of stuff directed at Waddle this year, right? He could easily be the primary in that offense. Nobody saw Jonnu breaking out like he did last year, and they kind of switched it up last year and kind of took all the underneath stuff because everybody was kind of taking away their kind of high and middle stuff. So we're just going to take Achane and Jonnu to the bank, and maybe that's where they stay. But and maybe that's not a terrible plan, but I could see, McDaniel going back to the drawing board and figuring out how to, unlock these wide receivers in this game with a healthy Tua. So I'm going that direction in that one. What's fun if we all take the same side every time. All right. I'm going to get back to the draft here in just a second. We got Matthew Glore. He threw us $2 in the chat. Appreciate you, bud. He asks 12 team, 1 quarterback. London and Hawkinson just became available. He only wants pick. I have 226 first, my 27 first, 212 and 3-1. Team is JD5. Jaden Daniels, Bijan, Genty, Neighbors, Marv, Rice, Diggs, Downs, Strange, and Likely.
That's a whip, bud. That is, yeah. I like that a lot.
What are you going after those guys?
London, yeah.
What kind of payment would you be down to send for them? It only wants picks, so
1 of the first and 212.
Not getting it done.
Not for London, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
But
a first and second doesn't get it done for London.
I don't think so. No, you probably need like that 26 first, the 27 first, and the 212 to start maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you could take both 2026 first for London. I'd probably give those away for Drake London. I say it won't happen. Like, I'm in a league right now where I just saw Garrett Wilson get traded for a 2-4 or 2-5 and a first next year. From a rebuilding team gave away Garrett Wilson for 2-4 and a first in 2026. So I thought that was not nearly enough. I thought that was stealing Garrett Wilson. So I mean, I would probably give the 2-1. I mean, I would give the 2-1s for Drake London. I would, if I could put a little context behind it, and those 26 first are from the worst teams, maybe not. But like, if one of them is yours, he did say I got 26 first and my 2027. So he didn't say one of them, but maybe one of them is his. But like, if you got Bijan and Genty and Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rice and Diggs and Downs, like that's probably, it's a one quarterback league, so it won't even matter. You got Jaden Daniels, but it doesn't matter about second.
Right, but that's a cheat code, right? So that's
right. So that's a playoff team. I mean, Bijan, Genty, Jaden Daniels, Neighbors, Harrison, and Rice.
Do you just say F it and say, all right, well, they're available. Let's see what we can do. But do we need to just go upgrade the tight end position right now and just go get, just see if we can get McBride or a big dog, or see if we can get like an Evan Ingram or somebody else along those lines? Is that the first thing that you're going to upgrade there? Or
yeah, I'm probably going. I'll go after London. I'm probably not going after Hawkinson in the same deal. I probably don't want to pay that much. I'd rather go and get a cheaper Evan Ingram or Jonnu.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, I'm on the same page there. I pulled up Dynasty Daddy. We got today 209 and 105 for Drake London, and then we got Chuba and Zay Flowers for Drake London. Not. I would smash Drake London.
That's not real. Yeah, it could be, but that's you shouldn't be on the non-Drake London side. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
103 and 207. Keon Coleman for Drake London.
See, early first this year, I understand. Like that's Drake London went at 211 in this mock, but like he doesn't, 211, 3-2, something like right there into the second, early third. There's Cam Ward and there's Hampton right there, a couple picks down the line. Like rookie fever is so crazy. Let me give away this Drake London guy who could have 120 catches next year from Michael Penix, and for a guy who I've never seen play before, but I'm supposed to love him, right? That's the point. That's why we talk about the rookies and the rookie draft the way we do. I love drafting rookies. It's so much fun. But when I have the opportunity to trade my rookie pick for somebody as good or better than the person that I'm drafting is even supposed to be, that's the easy part.
Yeah. Luis says, what's up? What up? Missed the draft this time, but all good. Yeah, no, he says, should I, McBride owner isn't selling, so McBride's off the board.
Smart man.
But, you could go after somebody like an Andrews. We talked about. I like the idea of Evan Ingram. We could see if Jonnu can catch lightning in a bottle. Just some cheaper assets there to maybe go after to help strengthen your tight end room, or try to get Loveland or Warren out of this draft. But he says, he thinks you should just maybe go after London, stand pat with his tight ends. Like, I'd go send some offers for send the first and the second for Drake London and see what happens, and then let's just take it from there. Right? That's kind of how I don't think that's enough for the way that I would value London, but I mean, I've got London screaming up my tier 2 rankings for dynasty wide receivers. So I don't mind adding, another guy who I think is going to be just a absolute monster volume wise.
Yeah. 2026 1, 2027 1 is Cedric Tillman for Drake London.
Yeah. Yeah. So
to me, he's the cheapest 150 target option that you could, that you can get.
Yeah, I like it. He said he'd probably want 2 firsts in the 2012 and the 301 for London, and he'd pay that. Which, hey, I don't really disagree, man. If you're trying to, you're going to deplete your team of opportunities of going to buy other things essentially, and for the future. But I mean, you can make moves down the
some
line.
of those things. Also,
he said one is mine, and he's a contender already. So in 26, so you could trade your own 26 and that 20 and a 27 and try to give him the 301 and see if he'll take it.
Well, he's got 226 first. So yeah. How often does it? Yeah, exactly, Matt. We're all tracking with you. I just, I'm gonna start a little low, and then you can work from there. Just hopefully the guy didn't get pissed because you said a first and a second, basically a first and a third for Drake London.
Yeah. Big Co, final thoughts on that as we move along here.
It's if you start too low, too slow, you could get a trade accepted email, or you could see it in the group chat all of a sudden, and Drake London's on somebody else's team. You don't have to go after everybody that pops up on the trade block, but if you want to go after it, when somebody says Drake London's for sale, I need picks. The two best dynasty manager / owner, whatever you want to call them in your league, is probably sending offers. It's probably not knock you out, knock your socks off type offers, but they're sending offers. Like anytime somebody sets a group chat or a league message about somebody, they're wanting to trade up, I try to send some type of offer to fill them out. And if it's the person that I really like and I think he's undervalued already, then I go in what I feel like is hard, strong offer off the rip compared to market value to try to get that person before a trade is done to somebody else. So if you're okay sending the London, if you're okay sending the 2 1s for London, send it. If you want to ask for a third back or something, go for it. But if you want him and you're okay paying that price for him, just send it because he could be gone. He could be on somebody else's team in a minute.
Yeah, I like it. All right, let's look back at this mock and let's see how some teams have further kind of built this thing out. Chuba in the 8th seems like nice value there. We got Trey Harris in the 8th, Jaden Higgins in the 8th, Ricky Pearsall 801. What are we doing with Jerry Jeudy this year, boys? You feel good in the 7th round drafting Jeudy? Because I don't. I mean,
not when you can go get Cedric Tillman like 5 rounds later.
7th round, Jerry Jeudy doesn't feel as good.
But he just went in the 10th round of a startup on me. That's what I was looking at for a second. He just went in the 10th round. 10th round, I'm okay with because he just had 145 targets. I mean, they changed play callers, whatever would have you. But also, I would just wait. I'd just wait a couple more rounds. You can get Cedric Tillman.
I mean, 9th or 10th round Jerry Jeudy, that's what's up. Like 7th round Jerry Jeudy, 7-7 in this case. Like you miss an opportunity. Obviously, it's a mock, but you could trade back a little bit, pick up something, grab yourself Ricky Pearsall, Chris Olave. Luther Burden hasn't done anything, and he's in a lot of target competition, but he's like that hot new shiny object that if he was to do any kind of splash play week 1 or even in the preseason, he's like we're going to be on high alert for Luther Burden preseason splash play. Luther Burden preseason 30-yard touchdown, either like just a drag and he's wide open, or they threw it to him in the backfield or something. He breaks a couple tackles and he makes a 30-yard run. Like preseason Luther Burden, stock up. It's about to happen. Yeah.
Marco comes in here. We talked about him to start the show off on how he was kind of building his team. Shout out to Marco, Patreon homeboy for a long time. He went
for a long time.
Went Jefferson, Bijan, and then he took the Hunter, which I would be really in love with this team if Bo was there, but is what it is. Hunter's his guy, so he's going Hunter. Could be best pick on the board. Then Taylor, which I'm smitten with Taylor in the 4th. And then he has Devonta Smith and Caleb, which I love Caleb, and then Jamison Williams in the 7th. I think a lot of good decisions were made. Then he goes Tua, Geno, Stafford. I kind of love that. I know y'all boys are Tua's iffy for you, but I mean, that's just like a really fun. We're playing utility quarterbacks here, baby.
And that's fine because I mean, Tua can be a back end quarterback 1. I mean, what he did was he had, you know, the strength of his lineup here is in the skill positions, which, you know, you don't have to be as strong at quarterback if you're going to go out there and rock out with, you know, all of these skill positions. I mean, I'm big on JMO. Devonta Smith had a 28% target share, even though it was only 90 targets. Again, I don't think they're going to run Saquon in the ground like they did last year. No running back ever has rushed for 1,500 yards after rushing for 2,000. So there's a bit of historical regression to deal with there.
Yeah.
You got Cedric Tillman. He got Cedric Tillman late, which, again, we just talked about, and I love that. The only thing here is just I would love to, I just love to not have gone Travis Hunter right there. I mean, for the options on the board, like why are we going Travis Hunter over JSN? Why are we going Travis Hunter over Garrett Wilson? Why? Like, I just don't. I explain that to me like I'm 5.
Yeah, just people love the upside, and it's a mock, having some fun. So, you know,
seeing what happens.
But yeah, I'm mostly with you. Appreciate you, Dougie Fresh, throwing in a little $5 super sticker. Shout out to you.
Love you, Doug.
All right, so we're about to wrap this mock up here, about to finish it up. DMW, which I believe is Doug over there in the corner. He got Bowers, Gibbs, Marv, Bucky, Rome, Addison, and Waddle, and then he went 3 quarterbacks. A bit harder to stomach, I think, kind of moving forward, going into week 1. You got some questions there, but really could be lucrative. Then he goes ETN, Mason, Knoll, Hollywood Brown, Fannin. So I like a lot of these picks. I want a little bit more of stability at quarterback somewhere, but you know, you can figure that out in season, I suppose.
Yeah, that's very volatile. I mean, the good weeks are going to be really, really, really good and make you really difficult to beat, and the bad weeks are going to feel not so good.
We had this GTG Arity here. He has Chase, Caleb, Hampton, Baker, Xavier, Kittle, Bryce Young in the 7th, Ayuk in the 8th. Then he got Kamara and Tootin, which that's a little too early for Tootin for me there. And then he went Pitts, Aaron Jones, Shaheed, Bigsby, Mooney, Wright. So a lot of picks I really like in there. I love that back end Shaheed, Bigsby, Mooney, Wright grab, and really the Aaron Jones 12-5. I mean, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Okay, and we're all on the same page. We're cool with that.
Yes.
Tootin too early at 10:05 for y'all, or Big Call? You're probably the biggest Tootin guy.
Just the way the wind's blowing in Jacksonville and all the press coverage, and you know, if your model says he's about to be exploding off the page on Sundays, off the screen, then you know he could be. What you said last week was, I mean, very accurate. You've been around the block. You've seen this 100 times. Like, Tootin could be a player that you really wish you didn't draft as early as you drafted him very easily. Like, he should be.
Fumbled on the first play of live ball. Had a lot of fumbles last year.
It could sting if, like, I want some Tootin. So far, I haven't been in the right spot at the right time to think he need to be on my team, because people were planting flags mid-second round in certain spots where I may not have even had a pick, et cetera. So I want a team or two with Tootin, just in case the train does take off and leaves the station and it never comes back, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be the right time and the place. Like, I'm not going to plant my flag on the upside and the possibility of Tootin, even though I do understand that coaches and GMs want to stroke their ego, right? Look what I did. So who knows how much opportunity Tootin's going to get over 2 other really decent running backs. And you could say what you want to say about ETN negatively, and you could say what you want to say about Big negatively, but we haven't seen Tootin on an NFL field yet, and both of those other guys have their own strengths and weaknesses. And
I mean, one guy was the RB3, so and then, you know, Bigsby's a solid player as well. So those are pros that you got to get through. It'll be interesting for sure. Ben says Lane Kiffin won, which is OG. Shout out to Lane. I wanted to look at Hoodie real quick before we shoot over to Lane. He's got Josh Allen, Nico, Achan, like that start. Then he goes Kyler, like that. Then he goes Warren, like that. Then he goes Harvey, like that. Now he hits a block of receivers. So he kind of went anchor receiver and then took shots. But these shots, man, I like these. I like these a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Olave, Pearsall, Godwin, Kyle Williams, and then Ridley. Boy, oh boy, do I like that's a bunch of bullets that I really like firing right there.
Yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of different chances of those guys to return on value. Obviously, Chris Godwin was wide receiver 5 before he got hurt. Olave is going to get peppered with targets. We've seen the number 1 target in that offense with Kellen Moore in 3 different spots now perform at a high level. I mean, the quarterback play is the only question there. And then Kyle Williams, we're all Kyle Williams fans of the show by default now. And obviously Calvin Ridley goes over 1,000 yards with, simple jack playing quarterback. I think he's going to do wonders with Cam Ward this year.
Well, we're on record of loving some Calvin Ridley this year to kind of be in a Terry McLaurin-esque ascension here of being real strong.
Say it first though?
Yeah, well, whatever. Henry Mudo says Godwin was the wide receiver 2 before he got hurt. That is correct. Or 1 maybe. And Ryan comes back with Hoodie's team and says ends with Sampson and Neal to end the draft, which was absolutely fantastic. He's got Warren. Then he went Freiermuth and Theo Johnson, which we might have a little log jam to figure out what's going on at tight end to start the season. And we might have to figure out, maybe you could buy a vet. Then great swings at Sampson and Neal. Now you do have potentially a problem at, a third running back right now, but I love those 2 shots. And then he ends with Strange. So I didn't see that down there. My computer's covering up the last little bit of the screen right there. So I keep looking over. But to end with Strange, I mean, that could be easy. Those could be easy layup points week in, week out. That it's not anything. It's like a Ferguson, right?
Mm-hmm.
For that, it's not super sexy, but man, oh man, if he just becomes a little bit of a security blanket and a comfort for Trevor Lawrence and can find those little soft spots, it could just be easy money. So I really like what Hoodie did there. I don't want to call it zero wide receiver, but man, that he did work. I worked the receiver rooms from 7 to 11 there. So I like that a lot.
Well, one of those guys is going to emerge as a player.
Right. Was Godwin's injury the same as Pollard's? And
no.
Okay.
It was just completely dislocated, discombobulated ankle.
Okay. But it wasn't the fibia or tibia or whatever those were for like Pacheco and
right. No.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes me a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
It makes me a little more comfortable. All right, let's go over to Lane Kiffin because Ben said he won. All right. We got Burrow, Genty, Cam Ward at 306. That's might be the highest I've seen him, maybe.
It's aggressive.
Then Travion, then Loveland, then Mbuka and Golden. So he's all in, probably going to struggle a little bit this year, potentially. But then he's got Dart, so that didn't end the rookies there. And then he has Tyreek, Joku, Tracy, Debo, Ramondre, Cup, Corum, Komet. Now, so he kind of skewed back old on the back half and young on the front half. How do we feel about that? Like, if you're going to go one way, do you go all one way? Are you, because if things don't really start breaking for you and some of those rookies really catch on, you're probably going to have a tough time getting some of the value back you could have extracted with different picks late. Big Co, what do you think?
Yeah, like you said, Cam Ward at 3.6 here. He goes before the, it would basically be the rookie number 2 off the board. Exactly what I thought was going to happen last week, which did not. That shows you the volatility of the first 4 or 5 rookies in a startup. Like you said, yeah. So you got Mbuka and Golden as your top 2 wide receivers. I say this all the time. I got no problem taking somebody like that in 6th and 7th round and then backfilling them like Tyreek Hill is your number 1 wide receiver week 1. Tyreek Hill's in your top spot, and then as long as he's healthy, you got to see what's going on with Debo Samuel. If he maybe after week 1 he doesn't get enough targets, and you plug in Cooper Kupp, and you still got Golden and Emeka on the bench waiting for something to filter out. Maybe after week 1, you're like, okay, Matthew Golden goes in my wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 spot every week. But like, so the conversation is, the Deebo Samuel, the Stevenson, obviously the Cooper Kupp, those last 4 or 5 picks there on the way out the door. If you take, let's say 9th round Tyreek Hill, and that's your swing, no problem with that. It's just you get down there in the 12th round. If you've hit on a couple of those other guys, if Colson Loveland's crushing, and I like the Jackson Dart 8th round. I already got 2 quarterbacks, but here's a home run cut in the quarterback position, because after that, it's Sam Darnold and Justin Fields, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand the value of grabbing Jackson Dart right there. I like that a little bit. I don't think David Njoku is as old as we feel like he is. He's only 28. He's just been in the league for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels a little older than it really is. He's not, out the door anytime soon. Tyrone Tracy, did nothing to disappoint last year, for which it outproduced all of your ADP anywhere you drafted him. It's just like Casey's point. Like, if you get into a bad spot year 1, that's okay. You could potentially have a good rookie pick next year, and your whole backbone of your team and the trend, your whole first 10 picks, not 8 picks, were all young guys, and Joe Burrow was your first one, and he's not old by any means. So, like, your entire team is young, but some of those guys, you're probably, if this is a real draft, you might be in love with those guys. So that's why you took them. And maybe you're not going to be as fluid with moving those pieces around. So now your Deebo Samuels and your Stevensons and your Kupps, like that becomes like if it's not a win now piece, if a couple of your rookies aren't firing and you can't make the playoffs, then you're really hoping to get what you need. One of those players, one of those 3 old guys to be crushing, to be able to get you some trade value to make up for those 3 picks you made back to back to back.
And you got Tyreek Hill up at 9.6. So that's kind of my point as well. And then I'll let you hit this, Chev. But you go all those rookies and go hard, but you kind of need, this is going to be a build that you have to probably stay pretty active with. Like, the goal for the most part, unless you really catch lightning in a bottle, is to get a shitty pick. But it's also like, you probably can't have all those rookies from this class on this team. Like, you have to be active and moving them and swapping them for younger players that maybe you just couldn't get at value in here. But like, as people are ascending and descending, you can take those opportunities to trade, 1, 2, 3 of those rookies away off the team and get something that is a known asset. Or at least that's the kind of the way that I like to play it. Because if the board's not falling right, I'm just going to continue to take these kind of rookies as well, right? Because it just gives me the best asset to be able to, people are going to be interested when their season's going one way or the other, or they don't have any rookies, or they have an older, like, there's a bunch of reasons why they're going to want this crop of rookies that's coming in here. So I like the start. I don't necessarily love the finish on that. And Killer Potato Fish kind of said he likes the Njoku pick, but doesn't love the strategy. And I like some of the strategy. I just might have switched it up a little bit. I'm just probably staying away from any old guys in that strategy. I don't mind taking swings at 26 to 28-year-old guys, but I'm probably staying off. Like, I don't mind the Ramondre swing, and Deebo maybe, but I'm probably staying off Kupp. I'm probably staying off Hill. So anyway, it's just an active strategy to me in that one.
Yeah, just stay committed. Just stay committed and stay the course. Like, you can't. Maybe Tyreek Hill just blows it out of the water, goes for another 1,600-yard season. Like, maybe he's cooked. I don't think he's cooked, but maybe the years of him being a bona fide wide receiver 1 could be over. If you're going to go that route, go get somebody who you've seen still be super productive. Alvin Kamara goes 2 picks after Tyreek Hill. If you're going that direction, like, you want to get solidified points instead of like old man, safe weekly, whatever weekly play that he's going to be. Yeah. Njoku's going into the final year of his contract. Tyrone Tracy's got a ton of perceived touch competition out the gate. I don't know how true that is. That's the one right there where it's like, he's young,
Yeah, Tracy, I love that Tracy pick right there.
Yeah, he fits this much better than the other older players that you selected. Debo doesn't fit. Debo doesn't, and we're saying this because you want to have assets that are attractive to your trade partner.
And hey, Debo could be lighting it on fire with this offense over there, and we could be completely wrong about that. Same thing with Tyreek, and it could be an easy end of late first sell real quick at the end of the season or middle of the season, right? But kind of the theorizing that we're all doing is a little similar, right? But good point by Ben. Ramondre pairs well with Travion, right? So I like that movement there, right?
Yeah. The conversation that Chev just had about Tyreek Hill was exactly what I was trying to explain last year when we did our rankings and we had with Neighbors or Tyreek Hill conversation, right? As Tyreek Hill is coming off 2 straight wide receiver 1 finishes, he just absolutely ridiculous, but he was already past 30. And I was like, you just can't take him over a Neighbors because if something happens, and then it did, he got a little hurt, Tua got hurt, Miami fell off. All those things happened in one season. He had a broken hand or whatever. Tua got hurt. Just all those things came together. And then now he's a year older. And now Chev has to say what he has to say, which is, what if he's not any good? What if he is great and he comes back? He's still, what is he, 32? Yeah. So he's 30. Sleeper says he's 31 right now. I don't know how old he's going to be in October when he's playing football, but that's the whole point of the way you have to look at.
Oh, kids will age you. Kids will age you. He's 52 in kids years.
Bro, this shit starts aging you in dog years, man.
Yeah.
You might be drawing Social Security at this point.
I love this. I love that Garendo 6'11" pick, man. Braylon Allen 6'10". Those are some quality late round picks. Like those a lot to end
6'11". Where are you at talking about that?
16'11".
Okay.
Garendo. And the Braylon Allen, I like that. I like the Marshawn Lloyd and the rights as well down there. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you guys so much. We'll be back next Monday with another live startup mock. 'Tis the season, so please come back and join us. Throw some questions in the chat. The squad will be back for sure, and we'll have some more fun dissecting drafts and talking trades. Until next time, I'm Casey. That's Chev, Big Co. We're the FFD. Peace.